is a bit rude.
Yeah.
Very rude.
Because we're entitled
Thank you,
to do.
Mr Speaker. In the time left available to me, I will reduce my contribution into 3 areas to directly respond to the notice of motion before us, to put on record the clear and relentless history and current action of the Tasmanian Labor Party, supported by unions and others in our great community, to advocate for safe workplaces in Tasmania, whomever the owners are, and make some final contributions about the industry. And before I do that, I just want to shift the tone a little, of which the former Minister for Primary Industries and Water has gone some way to do. And the first point of the motion is noting the sale of Huon Aquaculture. And in noting the sale, I think it is appropriate, and the former Minister did do this, to acknowledge the incredible work of the vendors, raising an industry from almost nothing, in support with others and with others coming on board, which is a star of the Tasmanian economy and recognised internationally for the great work that they're doing, not only to provide employment for local workers, but, as the former Minister indicated, also leading innovation in terms of making sure that we do have world's best practice here in the industry. From a great family has grown something really important for the economy of Tasmania.
Which family?
This is the Benders.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification. But there have been a number of comments today in regards to this sale and in regards to the company who now have the ownership of Huon Aquaculture. And I want to put on record Tasmanian Labor's position in terms of this. We are unreservedly strong supporters of the salmon industry, and we are supporters of this because of the marine environment and the way that we are able to provide great opportunities for economic advancement in Tasmania, and also for the support of small regional towns, often coastal towns in Tasmania. And we know that in doing so, it supports thousands of jobs, both directly and indirectly, right across the state. But in doing that, we do know that although foreign investment can be really important and a great driver for economic growth and employment, it must always be in the national interest. It is the government's responsibility to explain how the foreign investment approvals are in the national interest, and given that none of the information of the FIRB review is available to either us or the public, it is on the government to ensure that, and we trust the system, and if there is faults in the system, that the government would attend to that. I do want to make the first opportunity to put on record my disappointment that the newly appointed Minister for such a significant folio area of primary industries and water, which goes across not only aquaculture, which hit its $1 billion contribution just in this last year, but also across fisheries and primary industries and our great water resources, isn't in this House, and therefore this afternoon, although there's been a great contribution by the former Minister, isn't here to defend and put on record the position of the current Minister. I think that's a real failing of this current government, not to be able to find a significant minister from within that can be over this folio here in the lower house.
What was that?
I want to make a comment about workplace safety and the suggestion that an owner of any business, any entity, any company in Tasmania can somehow be outside the law. And Tasmanian Labor place firmly on the record that, irrespective of any ownership of any entity, anyone operating in Tasmania must ensure that they meet all of the local, the Tasmanian, the Australian and international laws, and they must be held account. And they must be held account by this government for any failure to do so at any point.
The law is the law.
And that must be said. But what I actually want to do now is shift the focus from the attempt to continue to undermine what is a wonderful industry for Tasmania that provides so much for so many, and reinforce that whenever these attacks occur, to remind people that, from Huon's example, they directly employ over 800 Tasmanians, many young Tasmanians. They employ families where there are members of multiple generations working within the one company, and that have passed down expertise through their family to continue to work in this area. And I just want to remind people, when we speak of such things in this place, that there will be people that that listen back to this. Employees of not only this company but of the industry and those people that support the industry. Almost up to 12,000 people in Tasmania work directly or indirectly to support what is a great brand benefit to Tasmanians, and we should always understand and respect that. So I want to put on record that point one noted the sale, that the Benders have created something important here, that the new owners, no matter who they are in whatever environment, will be and should be called account by the government if there are any examples of poor behaviour. But while these attacks continue, we must remember the great Tasmanians that work in this industry, that raise their families, that support their families and support local communities in Tasmania, because that's the lifeblood in Tasmania, our small regional towns. And without such industries in small regional towns, Tasmania would be far poorer. I've met recently people working in net labs, people working in the feed control centres. I've met smart and clever Tasmanians, young Tasmanians having their first job, and they always speak so proudly and so confidently about the contribution they make to their local town but also to this really important industry.
Time for